What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Loud Bostonian. Today, I'll be doing my review of It Chapter 2. It Chapter 2 is a sequel to the smash success It, which came out 2 years ago, and it is the continuation of the story of the Losers Club taking on Pennywise the Clown. In the first film, the Losers Club, a group of teenagers, young preteen teenage children, came together over one summer to help stop a killer clown that was on the loose, supernaturally killing all these children in their town. Nobody believes them, so they took it upon themselves to kill the creature. So this book takes place 27 years later, which was 2019, and it is the story of the children, now adults, coming back to Derry, Maine, and killing the clown like they intended to do if it ever showed its face again. This movie was so high on my watch list. I could not wait to see it. I love the first one so much. It is my favorite horror movie that I've ever seen. I know that it's not scary. It's not very scary anyways. It's got some scary moments, but the story was so well written and so well crafted, and the coming of age aspect of it that they really threw in there, it really, really nailed how I felt reading the book. And I loved it. I thought it was perfection, and I couldn't wait to see this one. When the casting announcements started rolling out, and they had nailed down James McAvoy, and they nailed down Bill Hader, and they nailed down Jessica Chastain to play the Losers Club's 6-7 people, but when they nailed down the top three roles of Bill, Richie, and Beverly, I couldn't believe they got this great casting down perfectly. So I was super excited. The other actors I wasn't so familiar with. I know that the guy who plays Mike was the Old Spice guy. That's the only other one that I knew. So it was interesting to see that casting, but he was great in the movie. So I've never seen him act in anything else, but I could swear by all of them. They all did a fantastic job. So this movie picks up 27 years later after the events of the first movie. Pennywise has showed his face again. He started murdering people. Children started disappearing again. And sure enough, Mike, who stayed in Derry, the rest of them have all gone off to do their own lives, live their own lives. They have forgotten about Derry. Completely forgotten about it, like it's been erased from their minds, which is exactly what happens in the book. So it's pretty cool. Mike, who stays in the town, does not have that happen to him because he stays close to the source and he remembers everything. He calls them all when these events start happening and bring them all back to Derry. This movie is at its absolute best with the one-on-one interactions, or not one-on-one, one-on-many, but the interactions between the Losers Club as they've all returned to Derry. The actors they have put in place and the way that they fully 100% embrace the grown-up version of their 27 years younger counterparts. It is fantastic to see them play out. My absolute standouts in this, and everybody's calling it, Bill Hader kills it as Richie, for sure. He is exactly the personification of the younger Richie played by Finn Wolfhard. The other standout to me, and I don't think a lot of people are calling him out, I can't remember the actor's name, the actor who plays Eddie, the grown-up Eddie, he is so good. He is just like Jack Dylan Grazer from the first one. He looks just like him, and he nails the character. Whenever he was on screen, I actually think he might have been maybe not better than Richie, but Eddie in the books is always one of my more favorite characters, based on his crazy obsession with medicines and being a super hypochondriac and stuff like that. So I loved Eddie in the novel. So I loved his character in the first movie. So I really think those two characters absolutely nail their roles. The rest of them are all great though. James McAvoy plays a great Bill. Jessica Chastain plays a great Beverly. But funny enough, those two actors who you'd think would probably take front and center, being the more prominent actors out of the group, even more so than Bill Hader, they actually don't. It's not they don't play. Every character plays a significant role in the movie, but they don't outshine the other actors when they're on screen together, which I think was an interesting choice and actually probably the right way to do it, because all the characters are what make the movie, not the actors. So these characters are well written. These characters are beloved from the books, and they all have their own time to shine across the 1,500-page book or whatever the hell it is. So naturally, writing the characters this way is a smart way to do it. But it's really good. There's some things that are obviously not from what I would have anticipated would have been the adult storyline. Some things that were kind of glossed over in the first movie that they couldn't fit into that they compact back in. Bring it full circle in the second movie which is pretty cool. Like there's the Paul Bunyan scene, which was one of my favorites from the book with Richie. The first time he ever has an interaction with Pennywise or with the crazy shit going on in Derry, there's a Paul Bunyan statue, and it's when he's a kid. There are a lot of flashbacks in this movie to the kid actors who show up again, which is cool. I actually appreciate it. A lot of people are kind of bashing it, but it was the best part of the first book, of the first movie, was the kid actors. So seeing them back on stage on the screen was great. Maybe they could have used a little less of it, but anyways, the Paul Bunyan scene is really cool, and it's one of my favorite parts of the youth story in the original novel. So when you get to see that on the screen and Richie reacting to this giant Paul Bunyan statue coming to life was pretty fucking cool. But it was all well and good. Bill Skarsgård that plays freaking... I think it's Bill Skarsgård that plays Pennywise. I hope I didn't just quote the wrong Skarsgård, but he does a phenomenal job again. This one, he's actually more playful with the characters than I think he was in the original. He definitely didn't seem as scary to me as he did in the first movie. Now, I didn't find the first movie very scary either. This movie is definitely, I want to say, even less scary than the first one. So if you thought the first one was scary, you might find the second one scary. If you didn't find the first one scary, you will not find the second one scary. There's moments, some pop out, some scary shit that happens. But for the most part, it's, again, a character piece more than anything else. It's the actors getting to play in this world and really showcasing their personalities more so than, and how they're reacting to scary shit happening more so than the actual scares themselves. There's a lot of stuff in the book that they definitely left on the cutting room floor. Well, not the cutting room floor. I don't know if it was ever written in the script, but there's a lot of stuff in the book that they did not adapt into the movie like I kind of thought they would. But you know what? It's a 3-hour long movie, so it didn't feel that way when I was watching it. Every scene is earned, and every scene is kind of needed, in my opinion, in how this story unfolds. But for the most part, it is a really fun ride. There's a few jump scares, a lot of funny moments. This movie was really funny. All the characters that you loved in the first movie that were funny, Eddie, Richie, they are just as funny played by their adult counterparts now. And the movies 1 and 2 together absolutely still combine to probably be my favorite horror franchise right now. Franchise is the wrong word. They are my favorite horror one and original movie and sequel put together that I've ever seen. If you sat down and watched these back to back, it'd be like a 5-6 hour setting, but it'd be worth it because I believe that it does tell a complete story, and you don't feel like you miss anything. You feel like these are real people almost, because the actors who are the grown-ups nail the kids so well. So, that sounded way dirtier than I meant it to. The actors portray the kids so well. So, I really enjoyed this movie. I know that the critics it's not getting as critically loved as the first one, but it is absolutely a great time. And if you enjoyed the first one at all, you need to run out and see it. If you're a fan of the novel, you need to run out and see it because it is great. There are some things that, like I said, that they cut out of the novel, that I expected to be in this that weren't in there, but I think they did a good job with it. Absolutely. It's definitely way better than the adult story wrapped up in the original miniseries from TV, because let me tell you something, that goddamn Pennywise spider in the end of the first movie, the end of the miniseries was so bad looking and so stupid looking. You can rest assured it isn't like that at all in this. It looks totally different, and it's totally great in the way it should be. But there's some things that are left out of it for sure. So if you're big fans of the novel, you're going to be a little disappointed. I'm just going to say that there's nothing to do with the turtle. So I'm not going to say any more than that. It's a spoiler for people who may have read the novel, but for those of you who haven't and just going to see it, you're like, what the fuck's the turtle? Don't worry about it. It's not in the movie. So, but that's going to do it for me, guys. I really enjoyed It Chapter 2. I'm going to say it's not as good as the first one, not as scary as the first one, but I think it's a really, really solid effort. If the first one was an A for me, this movie's probably a B+. So it's definitely a good time with the movies. And like I said, the actors completely knock it out of the park. So that's going to do it for me. I want to know what you guys think about It Chapter 2. Do you think it was as good as the first one? Do you think it was worse than the first one? Let me know in the comments below. Hit the like button, subscribe to my channel, and we'll see you next week.